The Defence Force has deployed over 70,000 troops to support the police and other law enforcement agencies to enforce the lockdown regulations. Part of the deployment is in Mamelodi, raiding the streets to ensure compliance. This after there's been non-compliance mainly in the townships. Let's cross live to Pretoria in Easterust. That's where our reporter Ofente Setimo is standing by for us, where there have been some roadblocks and enforcement of lockdown regulations. A very good evening to you, Ofente. I do believe you have been chatting to the police minister. What can you tell us?
Thank you very much, Flo. There's a hive of activity where we are, where we've seen some dramatic scenes where a taxi driver who was commuting from Mpumalanga was actually arrested when he came across the roadblock where we are right now. We're coming to you from Corner Solomon Matlangu and Kalinen Road, which actually goes to the Mpumalanga province. So the taxi driver was coming from Mpumalanga, and what happened is that apparently he offloaded some of the commuters that were in the taxi, and then when he came to the roadblock, the police searched his bags only to find that there was a firearm. He has been arrested as we speak for illegal possession of a firearm. But joining us now is the police minister, who's here also manning the roadblock. Thank you so much for your time, Minister. It's stage 4 now of the lockdown, but you seem to be intensifying manpower to ensure that there is compliance with the lockdown regulations.
Not yet stage 4. We're still at stage 5 until the 1st of May. Yes, the intensification is quite intense today. We're here at Mamelodi. We are very strong presence, about 260 of us, South African Police, Metro Police, South African National Defence Force. There is Home Affairs, there is SARS, there is everybody here. So we are intensifying, make sure that we're fighting on two fronts. We're fighting on the front of the disease, but we're also fighting on the front of the crime. As you have seen that with that first Kumbi, it was both the disease and the crime. Supposed to have 10 people, have 22 people, so it's overload, but it's also perpetuating the disease. On this one, this guy thought he was really clever. He owned every bag, say it was alone. Now we've found the illegal firearm and the other stuff that is not supposed to be in his car, like some people's cards, bank cards and all. If we don't get those people, we have to charge him for theft and all that. So it's working very well. This is one of those roadblocks here, but there are many, almost 10. We have just descended on Mamelodi, and we want to make sure that everything is fine.
Yes. And will you be intensifying it going forward, as you mentioned that stage 4 will be coming on the 1st of May?
There's very little difference between the stage 4 and stage 5. But there are things that they might not have been in stage 5, that will be stage 4, that will be very good. One of them is a curfew. We expect nobody at road after 8 until 5 in the morning. There wasn't curfew this time, but there will be curfew this time, that time. And things like restaurants, people won't go there. They'll still serve them and deliver in the houses and all that. We have a very little difference. There'll be no interprovincial movement. That's another problem on this road. Most of the people that we are finding here, they are coming from Limpopo. They are using the backdoor road, hoping that they'll be able to beat the system, and that is not happening. So those people that will be coming back to work, because you know that the work will be open, if you come back in that particular province for work, you will stay there until stage 4 ends. We are not going to be visiting home now and again. We are intensifying in the funerals. Is one thing that is still very much problematic. We are trying to find to make more stringent around the funeral, especially St. Cape. Most of the spread of the disease is through the funeral. So we are working hard to say when that bad time, dreaded time comes, August and September, as Professor Karim has said, we should be in a better place, in a better position as the South African agencies, security agencies, to make sure that we implement and we force everything that has been said to be in place.
Thank you very much, Minister. That was the police minister actually emphasizing the fact that people should stay home or there will be issues to be addressed. If you do not have a permit and you are traveling within different provinces, you will find roadblocks similar to the one we are at. And if you don't have a permit, there might be an issue. Earlier on, as I mentioned, there was a man who was arrested after a firearm was actually found in the taxi of which he was driving alone. But when they went through the bags, they found that there was an unlicensed firearm, and that's when he confessed that he was actually with some commuters in the taxi and that the firearm does not belong to him. But as we speak, police will assume that the gun belongs to him until he can prove that it's actually belonging to one of the commuters he was traveling with from Mpumalanga to here in Gauteng. Flo.
All right, Ofente, thank you very much. Ofente Setimo, a lot of drama there coming out of Pretoria. Of course, he was chatting to the police minister, Cele, who is, of course, implementing lockdown regulations, while assisting the police there in, of course, in Pretoria in terms of the regulations that have been put in place. And as he has mentioned, stage 5 continues until the 1st of May. Well, the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases now stands at 4,361. The death toll has